unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. The white supremacist and buck dancing Sambo's worst nightmare come to life. This is the BlackChannel.net radio program, and I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Might even take telephone calls tonight in the unlikely event that we do. The telephone number is 646-787-1933. That is 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth. Today, you are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because I've got a few things here that we do need to discuss here tonight, and I'm very glad to have you all with us here this evening. It's a little bit late, but it doesn't matter what time it is. It's always the right time for the Black Channel, of course. Big things coming up here, big announcements to make. I don't want to go too far into it tonight, but if you've seen the posts that we put up on all of our social media, from our Indiegogo that was emailed out to everyone who contributed, you know there are big things coming. New York City this October. If you are not there, if you don't make a special trip to show up there, you are going to miss history in the making. There's simply no other way to say it. If you're not there, you're going to miss history in the making. And I will say tonight, not since Dr. John Henrik Clarke and the master teachers faced off against the so-called white supremacist scholars in earlier generations, we missed that. We did not give that the attention that it deserved. We didn't give it the focus that it needed. And I want to say tonight that if you show up there, you just might have the opportunity to ask the questions yourself. So this isn't about just anyone and everyone else. You maybe get the opportunity to actually ask those questions for yourself. This is unprecedented. And I want to go in a long form to be able to explain all of this and put it into its proper context, but we'll be a little bit brief on this tonight because it's late. But I do want you to be aware, if you are not in New York this October, then you are going to be missing history in the making. And you should be aware of that. You should be aware of that. So consider yourselves to be duly warned. This October, race war, and by the way, I know it was a super heavy announcement, but don't be surprised if we surprise you. And as far as big announcements are concerned, we're just getting warm. Don't be surprised if we surprise you even further. You've been duly warned. Now, we live in a time period of great stress, great duress, great pressure. We live in a time period of overwhelming adversity. I said a decade ago that we were entering the most perilous, dangerous period in history for African peoples, bar none. And it has borne it out because I taught you all the rule that adversity reveals who and what you really are at heart. That's all that adversity does. Adversity simply exposes and reveals who and what you are. When I put you under pressure, you are going to revert to what you really are. When I put you under pressure, that's what's going to happen to you. You're going to revert to what you are because you have no choice. You have to. it's reflexive. If you are a person who's a fighter, when I put you under pressure, you're going to come out swinging. If you're a person who's a coward, when I put you under pressure, you're going to come out running. That's exactly what it's going to be. You're going to come out running. And those are things that you need to be aware of, because I'm watching today, a couple days ago, and I'm witnessing how pressure. And I have to tell you that when I'm taking a look at Monique, she has become a metaphor for what happens when the pressure breaks you. I mean, I'm just being honest. She's become a metaphor for what occurs when the pressure breaks you. And now she's allowing herself to be utterly used. And in this era where pressure reveals what you are you gonna stand or are you gonna buckle? When they turned the cameras on her a few days ago, she didn't just buckle, she broke. I'm not even gonna lead you up to this. I'm gonna let you hear for yourselves what she said. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, brace yourselves for what you're about to hear. This is from KTLA, Channel 5. And I want you to listen to what she had to say and who she had to say it about. It'll become very, very clear here in just a moment. As she's sitting at this news desk with she's sitting up there with Tone X. They're talking about some comedy show they were going to do yesterday. The news desk is filled with all white people. 4 white folk, 3 white males, 1 white woman. At least they all look like white males. 1 white woman. And you got the 2 Negroes over on the side. That's what you have. And I want you to see it for yourselves. Exactly what we heard here. And I want you to ask yourselves a question about your own lives. I want you to ask a question about your own lives in this. About what do you do and what would you do when the pressure is on?
All right, in depth with Tone X in a minute, but Monique is here too. And so we're going to chat about the It's very good to see you. A couple things we got to ask you about.
Yes.
You know, we talked about this before the light went on. You have a thought about the whole thing with Roseanne.
I do. I really do. Should we wait for the break or should we share it right
we'll
now?
share it right now.
You know, Roseanne Barr is my sister in comedy, and she's my universal sister. And what I won't do, Sam, is throw her away for making a mistake. We've all said and done things, baby, that we wish we could take back and swallow and say, oh, but when you're in the public eye, you can't, and it's out there. But to put the title of racist on her, I can only share my experience with Roseanne. I remember when I had the Monique show, and there were big, major black superstar talent that had white representatives. And they told their talent, that show is too black, and we really don't want you to go on there. But there was a white woman named Roseanne Barr that showed up for me when people that looked like me. Now, I want to thank all the talent that came on the Monique show, because there were some beautiful people that sat on that couch. But I remember when we were going after the big names, and it was, oh, we got to get back to you. And y'all know who you saw and who you didn't see on that show.
Right.
But that woman, when we called, it wasn't a question. And she came and she sat on that sofa, and they didn't hear the conversation when the cameras wasn't rolling. And that woman was giving me some beautiful words. And she said, Monique, I'm gonna tell you right now, baby, they're gonna consider you difficult. They're gonna call you the B word because you're a woman who won't lay down and take that foolishness. So what I would ask is, yes, my sister made a mistake. And she said something that I know she wished she could take back. But what I would ask is that we don't throw her away. The consequence is what the consequence is. But I know what it is, Sam, to be thrown away based off of a lie. I know that feeling to have to fight for something when you're only fighting for equality. You're fighting for what's right and what's fair. So when I see my sister, who said something out of order, out of line, she did. We cannot dress it up.
Right.
But when I see my sister saying, I made a mistake. So all I would say is to Roseanne, baby, if you are in California right now, you have tickets to the show at the Brea Improv.
Okay.
Because what I won't do,
Bring me some.
when someone says they're sorry, and we keep teaching all of this Christianity and all of this forgiveness, but when we write in it, we seem to forget about that. And we seem to walk away from it. So for Roseanne Barr from Monique, I want to say to my sister, I love you. I know you made a mistake. I know you messed up, but I still won't throw you away. I won't put you on the racist list and say, oh, never again. That is my sister. And I think these are the moments that really count. Because I remember somebody asked me, Sam, with the...
Let me stop you right there, Monique. I couldn't agree with you more than what you just said, that these are the moments that count. I couldn't agree with you more.
Sister, and I think these are the moments that really count.
Oh, absolutely. These are the moments that really count. These are the moments right here. This is what does it. These are the moments where what you say gets immortalized and becomes a part of your eternal record. These are the moments where you reveal whether or not you believe that black people are going to survive in the future. If you don't truly believe that black people are going to survive, then you start making collaborationist talk like this. She's made it very clear that she has pitched her tent against us for the most petty of reasons. And I chose the still captures from this interview that I did because I want you to see that these were the gesticulations that she was making. I want you to see the gesticulations and all of these expressions and mannerisms that she was using. I want you to see all of them. You can see Mr. Tone X, this paragon of masculinity, sitting up there on the stage with her. And I don't mean to make fun of anybody. I really don't. I'm not trying to make fun of anything. Will someone please tell me what is this going on her head? I mean, it's like somebody made a skull cap out of her hair. I don't know if this is supposed to be a new African hairs. I don't know what this, like, is this a Cossack cap? A Cossack hat made out of your hair or something? Oh, I hope that's not her hair. I'm not trying to ridicule anybody. I'm just saying, if anyone can locate this particular hairstyle, is this in Sophisticates? I know the Koreans are doing some inventive things nowadays, but if someone picks up black Sophisticates, looks like a bunch of black croissants ringing around her head up there. Just saying. It's like one of those sumo wrestler belts, only it's wrapped around her head. It's backwards. All right. In any case, somebody said it looks like a bird's nest. I mean, we're not trying to make fun of you here. We're just trying to figure out what's the dealio. All right. Moving right along. That was what she said. And there are so many levels to this, because what we're witnessing is that there are white supremacists attacking black women. You got black women saying, folks are just trying to seize on this. Yeah, folks are trying to protect you. And this is what happens when you get them by themselves. And I'm going to just submit to you here tonight that what occurred is that she had an opportunity to be in a room full of white people here. She had an opportunity to be in a room full of them, and she took advantage of that. She took advantage of it. And that under that pressure is where she broke, is the thing I'm saying. I think that it was under that she broke. That's where things went bad for her. Now, you also remember what I've told you across the years here, that if you want to know what a black person really thinks and what a black person really believes, put them in a room full of white people. Put them in a room full of white people and you'll find out what they really believe, because black people will lie to other black people. Black people will cheat other black people. Black people will misuse, abuse, and corrupt other black people. But what black people will not do, they will not lie in the presence of white people, because there are consequences for lying to white people. There are consequences if you lie to them. There aren't really any consequences for lying to black people. And I put this picture up here because I want you to see what I saw and what we all saw here. This is Monique. Zoom in a little bit here so you can see it more clearly. A whole stage and platform full of white people. And I'm not making an issue out of that, but take a look at this stage. Take a look at this stage. She and Tone X are literally outnumbered 2-1. Literally. And when she was on The Breakfast Club with 2.5 black people, or 1 2/2 black people, I guess if you put half and half together. Anyway, technically 2.5 black folk. On The Breakfast Club, she talked totally differently to Charlemagne. With Charlemagne, it was, you as the fella from Birth of a Nation who gave his wife over to Massa. But take a look at this imagery here. This is what pressure looks like. This is what duress looks like. This is what adversity looks like. When they put you in a room full of white folk and you got to look at all of them and realize that there are consequences for your words. And if you say something that they don't like, there are consequences for it. And I submit to you that this image on your screen, this is the real thing coming out. I'm going to go ahead and take the unlikely task of opening up the telephone lines at great psychological peril to myself, as usual. Telephone number is 646-787-1933. That is 646-787-1933. My mods, you can put that in the chat room so people can go ahead and take a look at it and stare like elephants looking at the river. But in any case, I want to play some more audio here, because as bad as what you heard, I wish I could tell you that it stops, but the reality is no, as the lyrics of the song go, it don't stop, unfortunately. I want you to hear some more of what she said here to see exactly how far this goes as far as the self-immolation is concerned.
So when Lee Daniels first told me I was about this unity and this sisterhood, I would like to see those two women come together again. That is my sister. And I think these are the moments that really count. Because I remember somebody asked me, Sam, with the situation that I'm going through. Mm-hmm. And they were asking my husband about it. And they said, well, what do you say about the people that don't speak out, that don't say anything, and they know what, Monique is dealing with? He said, in history, you find out who your friends are when you're going through something. either in their silence or in their speaking out.
Right.
You find out. So I want Roseanne Barr to know, sister, you have a friend in me. You have a friend in me. To Sister Valerie, you have a friend in me. Because when we talk about this unity and this sisterhood, I would like to see those two women come together. And Roseanne, you've got to give her an apology. You got to say, I'm sorry. But the spirit that I know of Valerie would say, hey, baby, but let's not us jump on the bandwagon of balling us up and throwing us away.
Can I bring up another B word? It's a B word that's been associated now with you.
We'll come back to that in a moment. So, what she's saying is that she thinks that Roseanne should apologize to Valerie Jarrett. That's what she was saying. She was saying here, Roseanne should apologize. Now, first of all, I don't know if you can believe such a thing. That's the first thing. I don't know if you can believe it, even if you heard it. But I want you to take a look at what her reflexive reaction was. That she sat here and talked about Roseanne and then segued into, and let me tell you about what this got to do with me. Let me explain to you what this got to do with me. That's what it became. So I'm just going to sit here and ask you, what are the motives? What's the motive here? What is the reason and what is the motive behind it? And just understand, because this is a problem that we have with black folk, it really, really is. It really, really is a problem that we have with black people, because black people don't connect the dots. We don't want to be aware of what's going on with people. We don't really want to find out what's happening. We want to be the most uninformed people in the room. And that's deadly dangerous when you desire to be uninformed about these things. But it's even worse when you are Monique and you are going to, just understand what she just told you here. That this whole thing with Netflix, that she considers what happened to Roseanne to be on par and equivalent to her grievances with Netflix. Now, you all know I didn't support that. But now she's telling you, Monique is telling you that what happened to Roseanne is wrong, is, quote, as wrong, end quote, as what happened to her. So she's telling you what the equivalents are. What she considers the basis to be. That's what I want you to understand. For everybody who was saying we need to support Monique and then support the sister and everything, she's telling you that what Roseanne said, all of her racist tweets, that's equivalent. And that she needs to be defended, that people going after her is just as wrong, quote, wrong, as what happened with Monique not being paid as much as other comedians on Netflix. She said that was sexist and racist and discriminatory, and that what's happening to Roseanne is equally as bad. Now, that's her words that she just told you. Let me go ahead and play that again in case somebody tries to sit up here and say that we are distorting what she's meant.
I want to say to my sister, I love you. I know you made a mistake. I know you messed up, but I still won't throw you away. I won't put you on the racist list and say, oh, never again. That is my sister. And I think these are the moments that really count. Because I remember somebody asked me, Sam, with the situation that I'm going through. And they were asking my husband about it. And they said, well, what do you say about the people that don't speak out, that don't say anything, and they know what, Monique is dealing with. He said in history, you find out who your friends are when you're going through something, either in their silence or in their speaking out.
Right.
You find out. So I want Roseanne Barr to know, sister, you have a friend in me. You have a friend in me. To Sister Valerie, you have a friend in me. Because when we talk about this unity and this sisterhood, I would like to see those two women come together. And Roseanne, you've got to give her an apology. You got to say, I'm sorry. But the spirit that I know of Valerie would say, hey, baby, but let's not us jump on the bandwagon of balling us up and throwing us away.
I will not mince words with what I'm about to say next. What that sentence you just heard was the absolute epitome and definition of mammyism. I need all the little black folks, y'all come on over here now. Miss Ann, she ain't so bad now. You need to learn to forgive. You need to learn to forgive. This is our sister, baby. This is our sister. I consider it to be quite telling that the light-skinned black female wasn't talking reconciliation, but the darker-skinned one is. The darker-skinned one is saying that the response to racism and white supremacy is we need to snuggle up with Miss Ann now. Don't be mean like that there. Now we need to come together here. Now she ain't mean that like that there. You can't take it like that. She ain't mean it like that there. She made a mistake now. So the response to people making a mistake is that's our sister. Black people always have some collaborator, some instigator telling us that the response to white racism, bigotry against us, is always some soft shoe, turn the other cheek, hug your enemy. That's the response to white supremacy, is hug your enemy. Let's hug a bigot. You remember what happened to those children? One in particular who was breaking down in tears, hugging a cop. We remember this environment he came from. These are whipped and beaten Negroes. They are whipped, they are beaten. And what she did is the very textbook definition of mammyism. That when you are assaulted by white racists, that your response is, they are our sisters. That if I know Valerie, she's gonna speak for Valerie Jarrett. If I know my sister Valerie, she's gonna be like, sister, I got you. What? Meanwhile, there is no mercy. There is no mercy for black people. In the press, there's no mercy. If you are killed unarmed, there is no loving sisters and all this old stuff. You're done. You're done. And this is the foolishness that we got to put up with. Now, I want to play one more thing here, okay? Want to play one more thing. And I want to be able to see that. Want to play one more thing here. Because I want you to be aware of what happened next. Hear this for yourself. And I'm going to put on the screen the image that you would have seen when he says this part, okay? I want you to hear it.
Can I bring up another B word? It's a B word that's been associated now with you in your career, and this word blackballed.
Yes.
Do you feel you have been blackballed?
At this point, yes, Sam.
Okay.
And, people keep saying to me, why don't you move on? Why don't you let it go? Mm-hmm. And then when you know our history of Hollywood and Black Hollywood, they told Eartha Kitt the same thing. They told Paul Robeson the same thing. They told Hattie McDaniel the same thing. And the list goes on and on and on. So when Lee Daniels first told me I was blackballed, I said, that's what he said. But then you begin to see it unravel. You begin to see deals that you had that just went away. You begin to see things not make sense. And when I say Lee Daniels, When I say Tyler Perry, when I say Oprah Winfrey, I'm unapologetic and I'm unwavering about it. Because when I see this woman, Oprah Winfrey, and she goes and she speaks to the hashtag Me Too, which is appreciated. But how do you as a black woman watch another black woman be thrown under the bus based off of a lie? So again, the blackball thing, it's very real, but what I won't do is be quiet.
Now, I want you to understand something here. Do you hear the manner in which she addressed a white woman spewing racism? Her response to that was, we need to hug her and love her and tell her that's our sister. That was her response to the white woman. But to a black woman and other black people, all of a sudden it was venom and vitriol. And you're doing this in front of a white audience. You're doing this in front of white people. That's the thing I want you to understand. You're doing this in front of white people. A whole stage full of white folk. You are using that as your opportunity to eviscerate. Look it up. You're using it as your opportunity to slash and cut up other black people. You had the opportunity, they teed it up for you to go at Roseanne, and you didn't do that. And they brought you onto that stage for the purposes of doing that. That's the purpose of it. They brought you on the stage to do that because they knew what you were going to do. They knew what you were going to do, and they knew how you were going to respond to this. That's the issue. That's the thing I want you to understand. They brought her there because they knew what she was going to do. And then she did it. She walked in the studio. They did the makeup. They prepped her. She sat there for however long they needed to beforehand. And unwavering, she was unwavering in her vitriol toward other black people in the presence of white folk. You can't bring white people in front of black folk to tear down other white folk. That's the definition of off code, where you walk into a place there, and even if she had just talked about Oprah and Tyler, you're going to talk up the white bigot, and you are going to rip apart the black folk. So what the white woman did is small beans. But for other black folk, you've got venom and vitriol. Out of one side of your mouth, you're defending Roseanne, and out of the other side of your mouth, you're ripping apart black folk. That is the definition of off code. That is the definition of mammyism. So for all of you people who are supporting Monique, you are also supporting Roseanne. And Monique just told you, now you can't walk that backwards. You can't get away from that. You can't get away from it. She's just told you that what she went through is what Roseanne is going through now. And then she's not going to throw Roseanne away because that's what she's going through now. So people like me who said it from the beginning that this was wrong and harped on it, and anybody who tried to argue against me, was posting bad videos about it and making all those derisive comments, now what do you say? You kind of look like an ass. Because Monique just told you, no, it's the same thing as what happened to Roseanne. That's what happened to me, what happened to her, the same thing. So congratulations, you were already assisting her. I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines here now. We're going to see about taking a couple of phone calls. And well, hopefully things won't get too silly here. The telephone number is 646-787-1933. That is 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the Blackest Radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. You are, of course, welcome to join us. Let me get caller from 323. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Ewan Jason, Christina calling out of California.
Christina from California, welcome back. What's on your mind, sister?
Well, I gotta say, initially I caped for Monique. Now I really regret it because this was certainly unexpected that she would cape for Roseanne Barr, a white supremacist female.
Why?
Now here's the problem.
Whoa, back up. Slow down. You said you supported Roseanne. Okay, I'm not going to string you up for that one. But then you said this was certainly unexpected. Can you explain to me exactly? I mean, I don't know how, if you were supporting her, I'm assuming that you were following these events. Why was this unexpected to you?
Oh. Okay, well, I guess, if you will, she had me fooled like she was some kind of strong, stand-up individual, whereas if black society was wrong, not just her individually, but if black people were wronged, she would come out tooth and nail their asses to the wall. I wouldn't have expected her to be a hypocrite, like go after Tyler Perry and not go after Roseanne for her statements. I was hopeful that she was not a hypocrite in her means, right? But now I just found out she is. And the reality of it is, what's going on is after slavery, white folks put in a plan B, a preparedness plan that said we need to get on a purge agenda. We need an agenda and factories set up that produce slaves, that create coons. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about white supremacist Christianity. It's nothing but a coon slave-making factory. And her whole thing is, why be a hypocritical Christian? No, if you really walk in the faith, forgive your enemies. Well, unfortunately, white people are not on some turn the other cheek. They're on a purge agenda. They are on a eye for an eye agenda, wholesale slaughter. There is no turning the other cheek. So what Christianity does for black folks, don't do that for white folks.
Well, okay, but think about this here for a moment, because if you listen to the Breakfast Club interview where she was talking crap to Charlemagne and everybody else, she had said on that program, I think it's a shame that as a black woman, I was able to go on a radio show with two white men, and my two white brothers, even one who was a conservative who was against it at the beginning, when I explained it to him, my white brother came at the end and said, you know what, you're right, and I'm not going to support Netflix anymore. This is what she said in a room full of black people on the Breakfast Club. She was boosting the white guys as a way of saying, of talking down to the black folk in the room. That was what she did. That was what she did. So that was what she was doing then. And I saw it. I saw it then. This isn't new. This isn't new. What's happening here, yes, in the chat room, yes, she said white brothers. You go take a look at this Breakfast Club interview. That's what she said. That's what she said. Sounded like Jesse Lee Peterson. And that mess. My point about this is understand something. White folk in this system, they are going to... What she was waiting for was, this is something that we fall for. You want to talk about slavery. Black people fall for this ploy of being, quote, helped into a position where they will always help you to go after other black people. What they will not help you to do as a black person is to go after them. And what she showed is that she is so eaten up with anger and venom and resentment that people did not come running to her rescue, that nobody canceled their Netflix subscriptions on her account, and that the entertainment industry didn't rally around her. And she's not blaming the white folk in the entertainment industry, she's blaming black people. First, you try to say it's not a racial issue, but then you want to hold out special persecution for black folk who didn't support you. You're not going after the white folk. You're using the white microphone to go after black people. She has fallen for the bait and taken it where I'm going to use this white platform to punish other black people. Marcus Garvey said that we are a people cursed by petty differences. And that's not to say that the issues that she had with Tyler Perry, you all know how I feel about Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels, Oprah Winfrey. I'm on the record about that for years. I have nothing to prove there. What I don't approve of is not what she did, but the way in which she did that. That part. Now, she was, with the Roseanne thing, you're totally out of line. Nothing else you have to say after that has any credibility or validity. But when you follow it up with, and let me use this white platform for a minute, white daddy tossed out the bait, and she said, let me use this platform to go after other black folk. What she's saying to herself, in her heart, in her mind, is, I'm gonna punish black society because I didn't get my way. And I don't have the ability to punish the white folk, but the white folk will give me the ability to punish you. That's what you're witnessing.
Yeah, let me follow up and close out and say, this is what it looks like when, as a black person, you're broken in the system of white supremacy. When you're defeated, when you're crawling on your hands and knees, when you're not living on your feet but on your knees. She's actually doing this as a codified whistle kind of language, dog whistle language to the white supremacists, saying, hey, I'm not strong enough as a black woman, and my husband's not strong enough as a black man for us to fight for our agenda without bringing in white people. We need white people. And what she's doing is, I knew she was going to do this, lumping her agenda along with the Roseanne thing. She's using Roseanne as a bridge to her agenda. So, in a sense, Roseanne should just laugh at her because she's not really trying to defend Roseanne Barr. She's just using her for her selfish agenda. And more than that, I agree with everything you said, Jason, but I got to say, when we get our wake-up call as black society and we see people throw us under the bus, we got to understand we've been under the bus despite Rosa Parks moving us to the front of the bus in white society. We can't expect a black president or any black official to do anything for us because they have no power to, and the white supremacists are not going to allow them to. So what we need to do is separate. Stop trying to save folks and quit being outraged when controlled, broken, docile coons and mammies come out here running off at the mouth. They don't speak for us anymore. We need to separate and build from there and then take power. Power's not given, power's not bought, and you can't assume anyone's going to give you power. So with that said, Brother Jason, thanks for the broadcast as always, and as a proud donor to Race War, can't wait till October comes out. I will be at the screening. Be one, brother.
Black First, and in California, I definitely recommend you all show up for that, and everywhere else too, as a matter of fact. Now, one thing I want to speak about to dovetail off of that call is you do realize that this is a conscious effort by Monique. She thinks she's got it all. She thinks she understands. See, that's what happens. You always got a black person who thinks they're the too slick Negro. They think that they can handle white society. That's what they tell themselves. Don't worry, I can handle massa. We've had that issue since the plantations. Every bedwench, every mammy felt like they were a member of, quote, the family, and they can handle massa. So what she's trying to show us now is, well, don't worry, I can rehabilitate my image. I know how to handle massa. I got this. I'm going to rehabilitate my image. I know what to say to get back in good with these white folks. To get back in good with them. I know what to do. You all think I'm on the outside and the doors are locked. I know how to get back in good with them. And I'm going to show them in these covert terms that I'm through with black folk. You can open the door back up for me. I understand my fight isn't with you, white daddy, white mommy. My fight is with them over there. That's what she's doing. That's what's happening. She's trying to show them that she's going to turn up the mammyism. You don't have to worry about me anymore. I'm safe. Not going after you. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is you want to hear. I'm going to say exactly what it is you want to hear and exactly what it is you're looking for. That's how venomous this has turned now. And if this type of behavior were confined to Monique, it would be different. She's actually trying to play a game where she thinks she can handle. 4 white folk up there on that, behind that podium, on that stage, and she thinks she can handle them. 4 white folk behind that desk, and she thinks she can handle them. But there's a specific reason why. And I want to play that for you here, because you're asking yourself, well, why in the world would she think she can handle them? And I want you to listen for yourselves why that is.
I won't go away. I won't back down. I won't say it quietly. I won't write a letter. Sam, I got a big mouth. Don't you know it?
Yes.
We've experienced each other for quite some time,
Absolutely.
Sam. This mouth right here, they say it ain't over to the fat lady sings. I ain't sung yet, Sam.
And by the way, no fat lady, you look fantastic.
Thank you, Sammy.
What are you
Thank
doing?
Okay, you got to brace yourself for that one. I want to show the picture on the screen. Now, you just heard her when she said, "Thank you, Sammy." And you can go to YouTube and look up the video for yourself. Monique opens up about Roseanne. KTLA 5. I want to play that part for you again. Take a look on your screens and you can see her face. That's the expression she was making when he said, "You look great. Thank you, Sammy."
I ain't sung yet, Sam.
And by the way, no fat lady, you look fantastic.
Thank you, Sammy.
What are you
Thank
doing?
You know what I'm doing? I'm doing this new thing called being loved and knowing how to love back.
Well, she's not loving Oprah or Tyler or Lee Daniels. Not that there's a whole lot to love there, but I mean, take a look at those teeth. Now, this is the way that she looked talking about black folk. Get that back on your screen here. When she was talking about black people, she looked totally different. This is the way she looked with the white man. This is the way she looked talking about black people. This is how she was talking about us. This is the way she looked talking about us here. This is indignation. When she's talking about black folk, this is what it looks like. This is how she appears. But when the white man says something to her, this is what happens. This could be like one of those makeover commercials. Before, after. Before white daddy pats you on the head, after white daddy pats you on the head. Your life around black folk. Oh man, I can't believe this here. Why y'all do this to me? Why? I need a saviors. This is you in black society. This is you outside of black society. This is you waiting for white zaddy. This is you when white zaddy rolls up. Monique, sometimes we are our own worst enemy. Just thought I would point that out to you. Grab another telephone call here. Let me get caller from 813. You're on live with the Black Channel.
TBA, good evening. This is Ime out of Tampa Bay.
Ime out of Tampa Bay. What's on your mind, brother?
This is insane. Just looking at the pictures and the faces that she's making, but you know, at all of our jobs, I just looked it up. This one's 50 years old. We all have seen these women that have jobs where, you know, they look at you, they have nothing but anger and resentment. And as soon as, you know, a white guy comes around, it's, you know, they do that thing that I can't stand where they put the Mr. in front of their first name. You know, hey, Mr. Thomas, you know, and they're putty in his hands and, ooh, yeah, how you doing today? You know, and they act like that. And it's real obnoxious, you know, and it's just dripping with just cheesiness. But that's how they act around these people. And the problem that I have with Monique is that she's over here sticking her neck out for Roseanne. And my thing is, I'm sorry, when the stuff was going on about her, Roseanne was quiet. Oops, Roseanne never really said anything when she was having her spat with Netflix. She didn't say anything about it. And it's this thing where we always want to come out as we want to allow ourselves to be pimped and get nothing in return. Because here's the thing, Roseanne's not going to do anything for Monique. She's not. You know, it's the same kind of thing to me with Kanye West, where Kanye West is always, to me, he's always saying things like, or you know, he has a hard time getting his clothing line off, or he's not able to do anything. But yet, you know, he has this. He's a part of this whole family. He married into this family where, you know, these people, they make stuff popular. You know, any of the Kardashians could easily, all of them are models. They got makeup lines. They could boost his clothing line. But he keeps complaining that he can't get off the ground or go anywhere. He could do that, but they could help him with that. But they're not doing that.
Now, you made a very good list of points there. First of all, her age. Here at the Black Channel, when I did it, I broke a lot of taboos. Okay? I broke a lot of taboos. I was the first person who told you all that you need to write off Negroes in their 40s. And I said that a decade ago. That most of them, once we reach a certain age, do you see the young black folk don't get any type of protection. You face full force, full flavored, unapologetic white supremacy. That's what you face. And they don't pull any punches with you. As you get older, you make less of an appealing target. They kind of get tired of beating the hell out of you, not as much game. And you just basically, you either become super hardcore and keep fighting, or you try to lay low. And I told you all for years now, you gotta watch these old Negroes. You gotta watch them. Because if they made it this long, they either did it by being super strong or by being super weak. Ain't no middle ground. I've warned you. Be very afraid of the ambitious older Negro. Because you got somebody who's trying to attain a position that they weren't allowed to for a long while. And they're trying to get their numbers up at the last minute. Which means that they are going to try to do whatever. They're going to do everything. They're going to do anything and everything. So when you talk about her age, yes, that is an incredibly significant factor. Because they don't have any fight left. You either get older and get ready, or you lose the ability to fight altogether. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, TBA, I just think that we have to, we have to stop allowing ourselves to be pimped here. You know, you attach yourself to someone, you link up with someone, they end up gaining everything, but unfortunately, you end up gaining nothing because, like I said, Roseanne didn't speak out for her before. She's not going to speak up for her now, and Roseanne's not going to give her a job. Black first.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Please do give us a call again. I just wanted you all to see that incredible dichotomy and contrast in expressions, because this is real. I've told you all before, when a black male gets older, he's either going to turn out like us, or he's going to walk into the job when he passes the white folk. Hello there, Miss Ann. Hello there, Miss Marie, what's going on there, Dad? How the grandkids doing? Oh, good, that's good, that's good, that's good. He gets around black folk. Hey, nigga, you need to get these boxes up over here. Get these pallets up. Y'all lazy asses. Now, it'll be a white female, hadn't picked up any pallets. Oh, hello there, Miss Teresa. What's going on here now? You know, you got to work a little bit hard about this here now. Oh, I got problems at home. My baby daddy is tripping on me. Oh, that's bad. You know, I knew you shouldn't have had no kid with Tyrone to begin with there. Now, you was a good girl now. You've been giving your heart to the wrong peoples there. Now, he talks to Aisha. Why ain't you got these pallets up? Well, I'm having problems with my baby daddy here. I don't want to hear your nigga business. You need to get these pallets up. That's what you need to do. You leave your problems at home. You need to leave your problems at home. That's what it becomes. Correct me. You all call me up and tell me I'm lying if that's not the way it goes. You need to leave your problems at home. Caller from 832. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, how you doing? This is Nick Simpson from Houston, Texas. How you doing tonight?
Nick from Houston, Texas. What's on your mind, brother?
All right, man. I'm gonna get straight to it, and I'm not gonna waste any time. This needs to be talked about, and we need to be teaching our kids this. What you're articulating right now is gonna be the death of black people. This is why we are dying now. There's been so many instances just within the last 2 weeks. Forget the last month. Forget the last year. I'm talking about in the last 2 weeks. I constantly see women, black women, and children being targeted by white racists. And this is why we don't stress the importance of our own space as black people. And it's because of what you're talking about right now. All I see is white people implementing themselves in black people's lives, and they will be not in their lives for any other reason except they decided to approach them and implement themselves into their space and their life. And as soon as that happens, it's like we have to prove something to them, or we have to go to court and make them understand that I belong here. Why are you talking? Why it becomes an argument and a confrontation when this is not this white person's pool. This is not this white person's space. Why are you talking to me? And when we do that, we open ourselves up to get murdered. We open ourselves up to have the police called on us. Unless you're at work or unless you're in a place of business, and this is serious, you have no reason or obligation to engage with a white person. I would argue that at this point in time, it's crucial to a black person's survival. Ask yourself this. If a white person ever walked up to you and implemented themselves and engaged in you, it just walked up the blue and walked, and it's been anything positive. It's always something negative. What are you doing? Where you don't belong, what you shouldn't be doing, or pointing something out, and it turns into something. And these people, they're calling the police on us, hoping that the police show up and blow our fucking brains out. So if you know this information, and you're not at work, and you're not in a place of business, as a black person in this day and time, why would you find it necessary to engage in any conversation or anything with the white person outside of those confines? Because you're not protected. You're not protected in the street. You're not protected at the public pool. You're not protected at the gas station. So why can you answer me this? Why do black people feel it necessary to engage with these white people that are implementing themselves in their lives for no apparent reason at all? Why do we feel it necessary to answer these people? Why do we feel it necessary to engage in a conversation about right or wrong when it's already documented that these people have no moral compass? Well, so as a black person, why are you sitting up there talking to a white person about, oh, you think it's because yes, it's because you're black. Yes, they don't, you know what it is. So you think you're going to change this person's mind on the spot?
let me go ahead and answer.
No,
let me answer your
statistics
question there. Let me answer your question. First of all, it's tradition. That's the first thing. We've been doing it for hundreds of years. And when the only tool in your toolbox is a hammer, you treat everything like a nail. As far as efficacy is concerned, let's just be honest. And this was stated by Thomas Lopez Pierre in Gentrified. White people can succeed and not know a single black person. Black people cannot succeed at a national level significantly and not know a single white person. So by definition, you're gonna have to interact on some level. You're just gonna have to. This idea that you're gonna black people don't have a built-up socioeconomic structure in place that we can deal just with black people and succeed at a high level. We're too dependent. We need to fix that dependency. That's what needs to be addressed, but that's the explanation for it. Last thing here, though, is what you're talking about. What you're talking about is the negative. Well, hold on a second. Wait a while. I'll answer it for you here. What you're referring to, though, about the negative aspect of it, about debating or discussing morality with them. Here's the issue about that. The only reason that you should do that is to determine how base someone's motives are. Once you've determined what that is, you go from there. And here's the reason why I say that. As black people, we know very little, and this is the real truth about it. We know very little about our adversary. We know very little. And that's the real problem. We don't want to face that reality. White folk don't care how much crap a black person talks about them. If you are a black person who has the ability to do something to them, they want to know your history inside, out, upside, one side, and down the other. They don't care about the fact that you don't like them. They care about the fact you've got the capacity to harm them. And they want to know every scintilla about your life. They've already determined that you don't like them. Now they want to know, okay, what is the ability and capability of this person that doesn't like me? As black people, we stop as soon as we find out they don't like us. We don't find out where they work. We don't find out their position. We don't find out their affiliations. We're walking around blind. We can't connect the dots from one white supremacist to another because as soon as they offend us, this is what I was just referring to a few moments ago. As soon as they offend us, we cut off our knowledge. We cut off our ability to gain more information. Oh, he racist, I'm done. No, there's an old saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. But black people don't do that. Right. So that's the reason why you need to keep your friends close and your enemies closer. We need to know each and every one of them. The damn FBI's got files on every single person in this chat room. How many files do we have on white folk and racists? White supremacists, how many files do we have? We know nothing about them. We're fighting them blind, and we're thrilled to be doing so. We don't have any intelligence or any intel on them. So as an individual, you need to have your own intel. You found one, but understand something. And if you've ever worked if you ever had pests in your home, do you just sit up here? If you see an ant in your home, or if you see a mouse or whatever, do you just try to kill him and then go back to bed? No, where the one came from, there are others. And if you want to, if you found two mice entering your home, they're coming in from somewhere, and you need to be able to deal with that. You need to be able to deal with that. So it's an unpleasant task. But as black people, we all need to be our own individual databases on this so we can start connecting dots, because we all treat this. Yes, we know we live in a racist society. Yes, we know that. But we don't know the racists. We don't know them. We know nothing about them. So we can't separate or categorize threats. We can't do any of it. We can't follow it back up the food chain. If you're dealing drugs on the street, the first thing the white police departments do is they want to know who's the dope dealer on the corner. They want to know who the boss is. They want to know your supplier. They want to know the regional person all the way up to Freeway Rick. We want to know about Blanco. We want to know about all the way back up to the Colombians. They follow it back up the food chain. Black folk would simply stop at the dude on the corner. Oh, he racist. And our knowledge stops there. So we never get to define the parameters or have some type of idea of the scale and scope of the apparatus locally, not just nationally. We can't just stop at this idea, well, white supremacy exists. That's like saying hurricanes exist or tornadoes exist. So you don't have a warning system because you're just saying, well, they exist. Well, yeah, we know that part. What are we going to do about it? Well, we're going to try to stay away from them. Okay, and if one forms, then what? We'll deal with it then. And meanwhile, these other folk have formed early warning systems. They put a tag over you. They know who their adversaries are. They categorize them and keep track of them. They categorize your associations, who else you make points of contact with, while we are fighting blind. So while I can understand you being offended by it, we got to get over that part and understand that in a state of hostilities, you need to be able to clearly define who your adversaries are, all of them. And a key element of that is getting them to tell you who else they know, who they agree with, starting to work that. Because we don't work these other people. Black folk are very good at working each other. And we're very good at working. Exactly. We're very good at working white people. If we want some interracial sex, we become geniuses at working white people to get some sex. But when it comes to power, wealth, and influence, or defending our but when it comes to power, wealth, and influence, and defending and protecting ourselves, all of a sudden we don't have that genius anymore.
That's a very enlightening point of view, and I am going to take some time with that and do some deep diving and look inside, because at the point where I'm at, brother, I just feel like we as a people, we do need to take a step back and come up with some very basic survival protocols, because I'm gonna try to cut it short. There's a group called the Pride Boys, and it's a sect of the white nationalists. They're almost like skinheads, like the new KKK. But these guys, and they're prominent. It just so happens that they're prominent in Florida, where they have the stand your ground law. And I know you just saw the guy that got killed in front of the convenience store, defending his girlfriend and the kids in the back seat. He got and he didn't go to check because it's stand your ground law. Well, what these people do is they meet weekly and they educate each other on these gun laws. And what they do is their objective is to go into black neighborhoods, convenience stores, Walmart parking lots, parks, and they seek out trouble. They seek out confrontation, like i.e. Confrontation over a handicap park. Anything small to start a confrontation. And as soon as the black person that they have targeted gets enraged or decides to defend their defend their space, because it's
a setup, and we as black folk have,
and they shoot them.
Well, just to cut to the chase here, we as black people have to be aware of that as a group. And it's not enough to just know about stand your ground laws. It's not enough to know about that. We as black folk, and this is what we do here at the Black Channel, we have to develop a culture of knowing our adversary. Not for the purposes of just being curious, but so you have actionable intelligence. That's what we're missing. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. Please do give us a call again. Let me get another call here at 561. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Good evening. This Hayden from Palm Beach.
Hayden from Palm Beach, what's on your mind?
Listen, man. I watch all this stuff all the time, what's going on out here, man. And I'm listening to what the brother said. He made a good point, the last caller that you were talking about. Just last week, we had, my old girl was going to work or whatever. She saw the KKK standing on the corner. I'm going to tell you how bold they are. here in Palm Beach. I'm sure you know, right? They didn't even wear their hood. And you talk about black surveillance, right? Nobody took the time out to stop and look at these people and say, who do I know? Who do I work with? Who are these people? You know what I'm saying? These same people you do the Kiki challenge with, these are the same people out here looking to kill you, man. These are your teachers. These are your police officers. These are the very people that you probably go to day parties and pool parties with, and you're not even paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Because I think you said before, is that you just wish the shit just go away. You know what I'm saying? You wish it go away, but it's not gonna go away, and it's never has. That strategy has never worked. You know.
But that's what powerless people have to do.
Don't make no.
Powerless people must resort to powerless tools. So the first thing a powerless person does is attempt to ignore a problem and hope it goes away, because he knows at the end of the day, when it's nut cracking time, he doesn't really have the ability to actually do something about it. As far as showing their faces, and I've explained this all before, this is why we're dealing with race war like we are. These individuals decided a long time ago that they were going to bully their way into acceptance in society. And that the way you had to do that was that you had to show yourselves. Now, that's kind of backfired on them in a lot of regards, but it's really about them for being more visible, raising their profile, that they're not a bunch of guys hiding out in the woods somewhere. It's got its pros, but it's also got its cons. You, on the other hand, what we do is that we have to have a situation where we understand exactly what they're doing, understand exactly who they are. And black folk as a group, once we've got that part of it figured out, then it needs to become a situation where we say, when this is what we need to develop a code of conduct for, about how to deal with it. Because as black folk, we're very good at being reactive. We don't have a plan in place of being proactive. And Florida, which the home values are going up and everything else is going up there, they are trying to stake that out. They're trying to stake that out. When I talk to these white supremacists, you start asking them about the places where they want to set up an ethno-state. And it's usually going to be these prime real estate places. Not the mega populous centers, but the places like Florida are places they would like to set up an ethno-state, either there or up in the Northeast. You're talking about in the Dakotas, which is sitting on a bunch of oil. So they're not going to pick some wilderness. That's not what they're going to do. They know what needs to be in place for it. That's what they desire. I want to submit to you all a different idea. And this really deserves its own broadcast. And maybe I'll do that at some point. What you are witnessing is the establishment of a virtual ethno-state. And I think I'm talking about this and stuff, we might need to talk about this tomorrow, but you are seeing the establishment of a virtual ethno-state where it is not a specific geographic region, and it doesn't even rely on a large number of people having the socioeconomic majority. Doesn't rely on a population majority or a socioeconomic majority. It's this loose network of white supremacist tactics and operatives that is constantly flowing back and forth. So it's a virtual ethno-state is what you're looking at. Not a complete one, but a virtual one where, yeah, they may be outnumbered and whatnot, and they may not be able to change those demographics, but on all the other levels, they still have all the other advantages. Even if you get socioeconomic advantages, they're going to try to hold on to a situation where they've got this virtual ethno-state where you're like, wait a minute, we're the majority of the population. We got some socioeconomic capacity, and yet we're still dominated in this way. That's what you're witnessing, where they don't carve out a specific state or try to take over a specific state. It's really going to be an atmosphere, an overriding environment, a virtual ethno-state. I really need to do a whole broadcast about that so I can go into detail on that, but maybe I'll do that tomorrow night. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, it's crazy you brought that up because, like I said, I tell people all the time. I tell people all the time, hey, you got to pay attention to what's going on out here. I'm originally from Riviera Beach, Florida, all right? Keep it real simple. Once upon a time, our area was inhabited by pretty much all white people. They moved out west when they went with the whole suburb boom and stuff like that. So they left us with our nice little piece of size city on the coast. People are always following trends. You understand what I'm saying? So they was like, oh, well, I'll move out west, move in some apartment or whatever. But I'll keep telling people today, like, why would you go out there and pay $1,500 for rent when you can stay here and own something? They're coming back and they're taking this away from you. Why would you let them take this away from you? When you see them out here doing the things that they're doing, yeah, they more than likely probably hate you because of the color of your skin, but they also want what you have. You're sitting right. It's in plain view what they're doing to you. You know what I'm saying? And when you talk about surveillance, I go to the Young Democrat meetings and I sit there and I listen because I actually spoke up before to them about stuff like this. I say, they bring up stuff like Donald Trump and all that dumb shit, and I'd be like, I play along, but I'd be like, I don't really want to hear that. You know what I mean? But what y'all want to do about black people? And when you say stuff like that, they start hitting Republican points and what the Democrats need to do. And I'd be like, but what y'all want to do about black folk? Well, I mean, I understand, and we're going to try to. And I was like, well, that's the end of the conversation then.
Well,
because
that's the end of it.
I understand what y'all trying to do.
The end of it is we have to understand that as black folk, we have individuals who are content to act. Then we have individuals who think that having the ability to talk is an action in and of itself, and that is not the case. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Mm-hmm. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from 346. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Good evening, brother. And I just want to say my name is Dion. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana, but I live in Houston at the moment. I just want to say everything you've been saying for the years I've been listening to you have been on point. And like the brother Neely Fuller Jr. would say, if you don't understand racism, white supremacy, everything else will confuse you. And I think black people need to get off this emotional tip. When they see racist white supremacists act or do these things that we call or immoral things, that's just been in them for centuries. And I wanted to ask you that we want to try to do something economically to try to shut it down. But as I studied my history, African history, black history, but at the same time, I know I need to study their history as well. They learned from Black Wall Street, which was all over this country, just not in Tulsa. Are they going to allow that to happen again? Because knowing what they knew then, they're not going to allow that to happen to where black people are going to have the economic resources so they can just have the money there or the resources there to defeat them or combat them.
Well, let me go into a case about that, okay? Because here's what we have to understand as black people. The excuse that is touted out by so many people is, well, they're not going to let us do this, they've never let us do anything. We have to approach everything with the mindset that they're not going to let us do anything. So you know what that means? We have to approach everything with a mindset of everything we do is going to be a little clean and going to be a little dirt. By definition, you have to be. They're not going to let you succeed if you don't have the ability to straddle that fence and to operate in both worlds. As a black person, you got to be able to do both. You know why? Because you're up against somebody else who's doing both. That's what you're up against. That's it.
Okay.
So once we understand that, everything we do will operate that way. But this idea that we got to be 100% dirty or 100% clean, no, neither one of those is the answer. You have to be able to do both and be able to adapt to the situation. The problem that we have as black people is that we don't do that. We let them decide how we should do it. And I've told you here before, and this is something new, and being from Shreveport, like I say, if we're going to be able to take advantage of these opportunities, we have to understand that a level playing field is not to our benefit, because they didn't get where they are with a level playing field. Uri Drive, down there at 70th Street and Uri Drive, brother, that's not a level playing field. Those were cotton fields. I'm glad to have a hometown boy that you understand what the hell I'm talking about. You saw what the hell they did with all those 40 or 400 acres down there on Uri Drive. You saw what they did with that. And if you're as old as me, you remember it as a child driving by there with acres and acres of cotton fields. And now we think they sold it eventually. They sold it for somewhere between $500 million and $1 billion all told. And the family didn't even keep it, by the way. That's the really crazy thing, is they don't even have any heirs to give it to, is the real crazy part about it. But be that as it may, I mean, we'll understand, it may not stay in the biological family, but it will stay in the social and genetic family. It will stay there.
There you go.
That's something that we don't seem to understand there. So in a situation like this, they didn't get that by being clean. They got it by that way. We, as a group, don't see it that way. And this is what goes back to Monique. We keep trying to sell out the group for the benefit of individual trinkets. So we're if things don't go the way we want to, we think we're going to get some special benefit for ourselves at the expense of the group, and it doesn't work that way. Not for us. And we misunderstand what we see in white society. We misunderstand that. We don't understand. We think they're shooting at each other the way we do, and that's not what's happening. In white society, the only fights that take place is over who will lead the white supremacist parade. But there is no fight over whether or not the parade's going to be white supremacist. It's not about who's going to lead this parade of these multi-ethnic. No, at the end of the day, the parade's going to be white, and we want to know which white. We're only fighting over which white person's going to lead it. That's all we're fighting over. It's like dealing with the mafia. It doesn't matter whether it's the Gambinos or the Colombos. It's going to be the mob running your block. And you talking about, well, if we can just get rid of these, if we can get these Gambinos in here, we'd be good. Okay. And that's where we are. And we need to have that attitude with ourselves, that there will be power, wealth, and influence. There will be a prosperous society, and we will be the ones running it. That's how we ensure our prosperity. And that other people can assist, but you cannot control, because we got in the position we are by leaving it up to other people and trusting that they would do the right thing by us in the end. And that has failed. The Asians are succeeding because you can assist them, but you can't control it. And we don't have, as a group, we think it's wrong to even say that. Everybody else is doing it. We think it's wrong to even say it. Well, we are a victim of folks discriminating. No, we're a victim of, they're protecting their interests. We call it discrimination. They're protecting their interests. We need to protect ours.
Well, a lot of us still have that civil rights mentality to where we're all the same, we're all equal in the eyes of the Lord. And I think that's where we come short at. And that's one of the reasons where we come short at, to where we don't look at it as, like you eloquently put it, to where we at war. Just like with your film, I hope you bring it out here to Houston. I just want to put that out there because I saw what you posted. But we don't see that we at war right now. And we've been at war for centuries. It just did not start with the Trump administration, even though Obama administration, which most black people hate to admit, ushered this in. It's always been there. But he helped usher this in even more so to this day.
Well, absolutely true about that. Thank you very much for giving us a call here, brother. You might see us pop up in the Houston area, so keep your eyes open.
Thank you, brother. Be one first.
Let me see if we can get caller from 281. You actually took yourself out of the call queue, by the way. I don't know why you did that, but you're on live with the Black Channel.
Am I on the queue now? Am I in?
Yeah, you kind of are. Your phone sounds really weird for some reason. What's your name?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, what is your name?
This is Chucky, man. My name is Chucky.
Chucky, and where are you calling from, Chucky?
How you doing?
Okay, say that again.
I'm calling from Houston. How are you doing,
Okay,
man?
Chucky calling from Houston. What's on your mind?
No, I just wanted to call in real quick, man. I don't want to talk a long time. I just wanted to speak on, I'm against Black Power. I'm not a Black Power person. I'm a Black man, but I feel like the blacks are not united enough to be Black Power. So I am totally against Black Power, and I think it is a waste of time and effort what you guys are doing. I just want to call it and say that. That's it. I think it's a big waste of time because we will never be united. Is it a waste of time? It is a total waste of time.
Okay, explain to me this. Okay, explain to me this. How do you think we will survive if we are not united?
What did you say?
How are we going to survive if we are not united?
I don't think we're actually going to survive.
Okay. Well, that says it all.
I can't speak for other parts of the country. I can't speak for the West Coast or East Coast, but down south, it's being taken over by the Hispanic population. And
well, it was already taken over by the white population.
The black population is moving out.
Okay, it was already taken over by the white.
It was already white.
Okay, it was already white. Okay, stop talking,
white.
Chucky. Stop talking. You're in love with your voice. It was already taken over by the white population. We've never been a majority like that. So whether it's white folk or whether it's white Hispanics, the situation hasn't changed. So now all of a sudden you're saying, well, there's Latinos, white folk who speak a different European language. All of a sudden that's the game changer. This is the situation we've always been in. Did you think the situation has changed? You didn't know this is the same situation we've always been in? The fact you're speaking Spanish is somehow a game changer to you? And this is different now? How so?
I'm speaking from the Texas standpoint.
Okay, I used to live in Texas. I used to live in Texas. You're not going to educate me about Texas. I asked you a question. Tell me what has changed. We've always been outnumbered ethnically. That's always been different. So now just because it's white people who speak Spanish as opposed to white people who speak English, somehow now, oh Lordy, we ain't going to survive. Now that was the game changer in your eyes? You didn't think we were already in this state before now?
It was a lot of game changers. I can tell you the game changers.
Okay, list
two of them. Killing each other. What about the guys in Chicago killing each other?
What's that guy do with Houston?
The black on black crime.
What's that guy do with Houston? What's that guy do with Houston?
Everything. It's a lot of black on black crime here.
Okay.
A lot of black on black crime.
And there's a lot of white on white crime that people of similar ethnic groups kill each other. What's your point? You don't know how to count? The FBI statistics
I'm just saying, I'm not talking about other people, guy. You are a black power guy. I'm not talking about white people.
I'm not a black power guy. Who told you that? Where'd you pick that up?
No, I'm just listening to what you say.
Okay, so what you're saying is you assume something, and we all know what assume makes out of you. So you assumed wrong.
I understand that. Okay. Well, you just sound like a black power.
Yeah, well, you thought wrong.
And you get called the Black Channel. I listen to you.
Black Channel. Yes. Okay. You're struggling with the language. Yes, and you're
representing black people.
Okay. Let me find out, Chucky. Let me find out a real simple thing right here, just so for my edification here. How old are you?
I'm 29 years old.
You're 29 years old. You sound about 69 years old. What in the hell happened?
No, nothing happened.
Okay. Have you ever done time?
No, I've never been to jail.
You've never been to jail, never been to prison. Are you originally from Houston?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Might I ask here, what is your profession? I have a reason for asking.
I can't divulge that because I'm being stalked on YouTube by an individual.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. What do you specialize in?
Let me just say this, brother. I can tell you right. I'm in Science. I'm just going to say that science.
Okay.
I'm being stalked by someone in Indianapolis. I don't know if you know or not. People in your chat may know. I'm not saying anything on here. I'm not talking about my personal information. I called in about
it's not about
black
personal
power,
information.
that I am against black power.
When you have somebody, understand something. Nobody speaks about if you're a black person or a member of any ethnic group, you don't talk about your group as separate from yourself because it's impossible. So when you say that there is no future for black people, what you really mean is that your personal life experience has convinced you that there's no future for you. So therefore you're projecting it onto everyone else and saying there's no future for me. Therefore I also assume there's no future for everyone else. And that's what's really going on.
No. My future, I set my future up myself.
Then you wouldn't be talking about that.
I'm on the outside looking at these fools that you guys are protecting.
Okay, you're on the outside.
Selling crack.
I asked you about your profession. I asked you about what you specialize in. You cannot tell us your profession or what you specialize in, but you want us to accept that you're somehow secluded and insulated. How did you achieve this insulated status where the rest of us are vulnerable, but you are protected? Just how did you achieve that status?
No, I'm not protected, brother.
But you just said you're on the outside looking in. No, you just said you're on the outside looking in. By definition, you can't be.
I made my way to stay away from them ghetto motherfuckers.
Okay.
That's how I made it.
And how did you get into a position where you're insulated and protected from them?
What does that have to do with me not liking black power?
Okay, it's not got nothing to do with black power. Just stop using that term. We're not talking about black power. You just said that you are insulated and protected from the ghetto people. How did you achieve that status?
I achieved that by going to school and being educated and staying away from the wrong people, and also joining the United States Marines.
Okay, that's what I was looking. Okay, I was looking for that right there. This is one of those military dudes. And let me guess, have you been stationed? How many places overseas have you been?
Dude, I don't want to get into my personal life.
How many? Okay, I didn't ask you about that. I just asked you how many places overseas have you been?
How many places were you stationed?
I've never been in the military, so I've never been stationed anywhere.
Did you serve?
Okay, listen again, my ADHD friend. I've never served in the military, so I've never been stationed anywhere. Now, again, how many places overseas have you been stationed? If you were really in the military.
Oh, so now you're questioning me.
No, I'm just asking a very simple question here. How many places overseas have you been stationed?
2.
Okay. Was one of them in Asia?
Oh man, come on, dude. This is what this about. This is not what I called in about.
No, I'm just saying. All this talk that you have right here. This is some of that typical military. Oh, I've been laying up with a bunch of non-black women for so long. He hung up the phone, by the way. He just hung up the line. So that was what happened there. But by the way, that's the typical talk that we get from those dudes who have been in the military. And because Uncle Sam, now let me tell you something here. Let me tell you something. Fire Marshal Jason. No, I believe him, actually. I do believe the military part. I actually do believe that. That much I do believe. I do believe that part. I do believe that. I believe he was. Because that's the talk that you hear. That's the talk you hear. You hear these guys say that. Now, I want you to understand something. Malcolm X once made the statement that black people don't even provide our own vices. We got to even our vices as black people, we got to get them from white folk. Do you understand how many black males that the first time they laid up with a non-black female, even that was contributed to them on the back of white imperialism? You didn't even get the Asian chick yourself. You didn't even get her yourself. Uncle Sam had to go bomb her country to get you this non-black female. You couldn't even get her on your own. So even your own vices, you had to get that on his dime. You had to get that on somebody else's dime. That's pathetic. It really is. And everything he just said there, first of all, just remember that when you say something like that, that really just puts you in the same category as that's the interracialist talk. Black folks ain't gonna survive. I've separated myself. Y'all ain't gonna make it. Now I'm gonna be alright. I'm gonna be alright. Y'all gonna be messed up though. I'm gonna be alright. Y'all gonna be messed up. I'm gonna be okay. It's very apropos that we were talking about Monique tonight because this is the mentality. This is the mentality. Caller from 978, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hello?
Caller from 978, last
Hello?
try, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, what is your name? Where are you calling from? My God.
Oh, yes. My name is Tate. I'm from New York City.
Your name is Molasses.
All I'm saying is, yes.
Oh, God, Lord Tate. Are you on Molly's tonight, dude? What the hell is going on?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I was hyped because I heard what was going on with the last caller, because the last caller is obviously controlled opposition. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to build my means up, but at the end of the day, I'm black first, and we need to go on that rule as that's the first code, the first rule of the code being black first. Then the second code that I brought up myself from listening to your broadcast is basically the 12-6 law, meaning we need that. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6, because at the end of the day, we are out here like some of us as a group are collectively sitting ducks. You see what I'm saying? We get too emotional instead of strategizing about what's our next plan going to be. That's all I wanted to say with the situation, because the last...
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Caller from 646, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, Jason.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is a non-white from the Bronx.
Okay. What is
See
your...
what I did there?
Yeah, that's very good there.
So,
what would slow down? Name. I said name.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask,
they on that lean in the Bronx.
A non-white.
Okay, you're a non-white.
A non-white.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's on your mind?
Right. Yeah. So, what do you think about what I'm seeing right now is that the black man has been eliminated from future political office. Like I'm starting to see like a lot of female candidates. You got that intersectionalist Mammy from Georgia who's running for governor. You got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in the Bronx. You're seeing a new surge in female candidates in the midterm elections. I wanted to know what you think about that. And I thought it was curious that, the Oath Keepers or whatever white supremacists, whoever killed Nia Wilson in Oakland, that they did it in Oakland, home of the Black Panthers, and there has yet to be any reprisals, in the city of.
Okay, your phone is blinked out on you there. What do I think about Anna Cortez? I think Barack Obama. We have these candidates who are brought to you by white powers. They have a never-ending, rotating conveyor belt of puppets that they wheel into the room who are going to talk what they need to get elected. You didn't know where they came from. You didn't know that she existed before she jumped out there. She doesn't come from the soil. She doesn't come from the people. So I can't trust somebody that I don't know their pedigree. That's the first thing I think about that. As far as these other issues are concerned, Jay-Z is almost right. Streets is dead, basically. Zimmerman still walking around. Streets is dead. And that just tells you what's going on there. You can't, but I want to say something to you tonight that I want you all to remember. Never send a crack baby to do a man's job. Did you hear me, Juan? Never send a crack baby to do a man's job. That's where we keep getting messed up. Caller from 813, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Black first, Jason. How you doing? It's Jason Reed calling from Parkton, Florida.
I had to guess the area code. I'm in the chat room saying, Jason, area code. He didn't say anything. Anyway, what's on your mind, brother?
Well, I was just here chilling, just putting the sun down. Well, I'm just sitting here listening, and I heard that so-called Marine call in. And what have I told you all about folks in the military? Majority of those black folks. Instead of him calling in here talking about warfare strategy or what we need to do, basically to just even protect ourselves, he's calling in talking about how he's gotten away from the so-called ghetto people.
Let me interrupt here, Jason. Let me interrupt here for a moment. You just hit this on the head with a sledgehammer. These are supposed to compare them to the white supremacists. They leave the military. They join the police departments to go kill 3 or 4 black folk. They join the FBI and go stalk black people. Or they go in special forces or the CIA and make a career out of going after black folk. That's what the whites from the military do when they leave the military. They leave the military to continue fighting. Meanwhile, your black folk, and particularly your black males, leave the military to surrender. Consider that contrast. The white ones have left to continue fighting. The black ones have left to surrender. So they can get back on the streets and surrender. They're not strategizing. They're not teaching black people how to defend themselves. They're not doing any. We don't have a bunch of videos. As you know, there are whole YouTube channels put up by these so-called survivalists. These are just white supremacists. All kinds of information that they're giving specifically to be targeted toward white people. There's no black equivalent at all. None whatsoever. But then again, why would there be? And do you hear the talk this guy gave that he has somehow figured out that the rest of us don't know how to protect ourselves and insulate ourselves, but he alone in Houston, Texas at 29 years of age, he alone has cracked the code of how to protect himself from both the white supremacists and the Negroes. Jason, this is an incredible guy, man. That military training sure has worked out for him well.
Well, what he did, he probably went overseas, did a tour overseas, might have a little security clearance, might have a little government job that he's doing, okay, and thinking that's why he's being all secretive about what he actually does for a profession. Got him a little government job, okay, so he doesn't want people to figure out what he's listening to, okay, but he has this disdain, this absolute disdain for his people and where he comes from, okay, and a lot of these brothers, this is what happens. This is part of the brainwashing. This is part of the training.
Well, it shows you how easily bought off too many of us are. All they had to do was take him into the military and let him go lay up with some non-black females, and they've got his soul in their back pocket for life, to the point that he's calling us up talking about we're the problem. White supremacy's not the problem now. That's not the problem. We are, and not even the ghetto Negroes. He's calling us up. We're the problem. We're the problem here. And the real reason is because he understands, they're not really. This is a Negro who has surrendered. And I don't know if he's drunk, high, all of the above, definitely brainwashed. And he's bringing us the fantasy talk. He's bringing us the fantasy talk. And that's what I mean by you surrendered. He's not even bringing us anything concrete whatsoever. Yeah, black folks is done. Okay, that means you're done. Nope, not me. We got real concrete problems, real concrete adversaries, and we got Negroes going into the military and coming out with fantasy talk. The white guys are coming out talking about, here's how you make a 3D printed gun. And the black dudes are coming out talking about, what he really means by I'm okay is I got me a car with some rims and my GI Bill gave me some money so I can get me a house that I'll be paying for the next 30 years. He doesn't know anything. And that is the definition of okay for him. I'm all right. I don't live in that neighborhood over there. I live in this neighborhood over here, as if that somehow protects you. I'm living around non-black people. That protects me. That shows you how out of your mind you have to be. I'm not in the ghetto anymore. Oh, where are you living at? I live over here with all the white folks. You mean you're surrounded by them? Yep. I'm safe. You're out of your mind.
No, that's the mindset. I mean, I could easily say, well, I did my 20 plus years, got my little retirement, got some little benefits, got medical, do all this, got a little school money. And I could literally just, say, okay, think I'm safe. Okay, I could easily do that and just take care of my family. But the problem is, I have a family. I have boys. I have sons. Okay, so what do I leave them? What world do they leave? Do they go out in when they become men? Okay, you're doing a disservice. Everything that we do, and you know that, and you said it. Everything that we do as men, it's not for us. You do not have to do this. You're a man, a single man with no children. You don't have any obligation to us. You don't have to do what you do, but you do it as a black man. I do what I do as a black man and as a damn father. Okay, I have boys that I have to put out in this world. So what we do is, this is what you've always said about sacrifice. That's sacrificing. It's easy to sit there and say, well, I got my little check. I did the military. I'm going to sit down. I'm cool. I don't need to be around all these ghetto motherfuckers. I don't need to do all that. And it's easy to say that. That's easy. Okay,
first of all, let me get to that right quick, because you're very good at bringing this stuff up.
Yeah.
I don't hang out with them ghetto niggas. I don't hang out with them. He sounds like the most ghetto person I've answered a phone call from tonight, while he is assuring us and reassuring us that he is different. Has this guy ever listened to himself in a recorded message of any kind? Dude, you don't sound like Carlton Banks. He sounds like, though, that's why the first thing I asked him was, have you ever done time? Because that's who you sound like to me. You sound like you've done some years. You sound like you got tattoo tears and stripes on your back is what you sound like. While he's trying to convince us that he's separated from that culture, I'm like, dude, you sound like the most G'd up hood thing that I have answered a phone call from tonight. While you're talking about how you don't like the hood, are you serious? I just took a phone call from the Locks, and he's telling me that about the hood, how he's not with that. Really? I just took a phone call from Bushwick Bill, who's telling me that he doesn't like the hood and he doesn't fool with that. Dude, the world's gone crazy.
Well, that's what we're living in, because like I said, Professor Black Truth did a whole hour and a half, damn near, state of address, talking about how we need our own CIA. That is a brother that's supposed to come up here and call into your broadcast tonight and say, I need to touch bases with my brothers. We need to sit down and we need to figure some stuff out. You know what I'm saying? Because, what's going through my mind right now is like, how is it that nobody has said where Michael DJ, whatever his name is, up there in Clearwater where he lives? Nobody said where his address is. Nobody says anything. I barely found out that he's had some prior violations before, but there should be a whole conglomerate of people connecting and trying to figure out all this, standing up holding press conferences saying that somebody needs to begging the district attorney to press charges and all that. It's like what you said the other day, okay, with Neil Wilson. As a father, I'm thinking like you thinking. I don't care about a press conference. I'm not talking to the police. I'm not standing up there talking to a bunch of reporters and all that about, we need to find the killer. My message to the police department is, you better find him before I do. And that's all I say. You find him before I do. Okay? And quiet as kept, when they found him, he was riding the BART. The BART that was supposed to be on high alert. He was riding the BART, the same damn train, going through the same station twice.
Didn't somebody have to find him? The police didn't find him. Didn't somebody have to say, hey, that's the guy?
Yeah, riding on the BART, the same BART. Okay, the BART that was supposed to be on high alert. It almost felt like they was trying to let him slide on up out of there. So that's what I'm saying. We, holding press conferences and talking and telling people to stand down, that's not the language that we use. Okay, this past week has been just ridiculous on people holding press conferences and screaming and begging and crying and praying and marching. And what are you marching for in Oakland for? What are you running around with signs for? She wasn't killed by a cop. She was killed by a white supremacist. So you're being counterproductive, running around holding vigils and holding signs with a killer still on the loose. But this is our mentality. This is what we've become. And the last thing I need to hear is some nigga, I'm gonna call him a nigga, that calls in to I was in the Marine and I can't stand y'all and you black power people. I'm like, you were brainwashed. What is wrong with you? Brother, kill yourself because you're useless to us. If you go in the military, and I'm just speaking strategically, if you go into the military, you're supposed to do what them white boys do. It's amazing, but if I say that, I'm wrong for saying that. I'm not. That's not what they do. They come out. They link up with each other. They start figuring out stuff. It's a damn shame that, like I said, the two brothers that decided to go ahead and do something out there in Dallas and Baton Rouge were prior military dudes. So they had the right mindset. Those two men didn't have kids. Those two men didn't have families. They just took it on themselves as soldiers. And I said, and we're like, I'm tired of seeing what happened to our people by these police. I'm going to do something even if it costs my life. Okay? But, like I said earlier on my post, Obama came through and calmed everybody down, did a little jig, and everybody went back to kumbaya. And here we're dealing with the repercussions of that. Same thing. What's happened in Clearwater is because of George Zimmerman. We didn't do anything. We ran around, held signs, begged people to change laws. And I'm like, you keep running to the same folks that built the system that oppresses you. Nobody wants to talk about the judicial system that let that dude who stabbed Neil Wilson out. They let him out on parole with a violent history, okay, on parole with no place to go. OJ didn't hurt a soul. He didn't hurt a fly, okay, but his first parole hearing, you know what? You need to stay in jail. You need to stay in prison another 5 more years. This guy served 2.5 years and he was out and stabbed somebody. And it was like, oh, well, Well,
he was on parole. He's on parole and he already was violating and wasn't arrested or anything else. Meek Mill popped a wheelie and is back to prison.
Yep, and
this dude is sitting up here in the BART station. Is like, okay, well, here's your citation. You ain't killed nobody yet, so see if you can patch that up first. And then even after, isn't that amazing? They couldn't grab him before he killed him. Couldn't grab him after he killed her. But we're supposed to believe that this is all incidental. Okay.
Right, and that's what they're trying to tell you, that it's random, and that and then you buy it, and those are the people that you run to. Come on, people. We need to get beyond that. Come on, get together. If you know somebody in the military, I'm going to tell you like this. If you know somebody that's in the military that's black and that talks like that caller, you need to get away from them. Cut them off. Leave them isolated. Let him find out on his own. When they come check him, when that government job ain't there no more, okay, when he gets his wake-up call, when he gets his call pulled, don't come running to us because you didn't seek us out before. You talk bad about us. Oh, you black power people this. Oh, you ghetto people that. You forgot where you came from and you forgot your people. You think just because you served in the military that they're going to love you forever? They don't give a damn about you. The minute you leave, they don't give a damn, okay? They don't care. You can run around and tell people all day that you're a veteran. They don't care. They don't. They killed, okay? They shoot veterans in the back. You don't give a damn. They don't. So all that
Bill
crazy
Cosby
talk, and I know
learned
you're
the hard
listening,
way.
caller. And I know he's still listening.
He's still in the
worried
chat
about
room.
people stalking him. We get out of here. Okay, you're wondering if people are stalking you, whatever. Alex Jones, conspiracy theory fool. That's what you sound like. Okay, but it's whatever. I'm just like, we need to get on a war footing, and we need to speak intelligence, and we need to gather intelligence and strategize, and there should be separate wings within black and intelligent black society to do that. We have our intelligence gathering people, we have our economics gathering people, and whatever we build, damn it, we have to be able to protect it. It is no more, well, if we build it, what if they try to mess it up? Okay, well, if they're going to try, well, you need to plan for that. That's part of strategy. That's war. That's what you prepare for war, because you can't go to war unless you have the means to fund it. That's what Sun Tzu said. In the art of war, you have to be able to fund it. Okay? So you can't go to war without an economy, and once you build it, you need to protect it by any means. There ain't no clean way to fight. Warfare is not clean. Warfare is going to have casualties, whether you like it or not. Okay, we cannot fight a war with no casualties. It doesn't work like that. Because if you fight a war with no casualties, you lose. You're not winning. You're not winning anything. You can't beg. Okay, people are ready, all this getting down and dirty, or any little white person that says, yeah, there is white privilege. Oh my God, this person's amazing. Oh, did you hear what Anne Hathaway said? Oh, she's so amazing. It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening. Like, that calms the niggas. She says that, and it calms the niggas. Oh, there are good white people in the world. Nobody said that there wasn't any good white people in the world. We know that. We're not stupid. We don't speak in absolutes. But they are a part of a system. And we are the ones that are getting oppressed. We're the ones that are getting crushed under this oppression. And we continue to look for ways to deflect. And we continue to look for other means of not doing what we damn well know we have to do. We have to channel that inner African spirit and know that, hey, this is the only way we're going to have to do it. And they're not going to like it. Because it's come down to the point that the only way they respond is the way that they treat us. The only way that they're going to actually accept what we do is when we treat them like they treat us. All that when they go low, we go high, we need to stop all that foolishness. No, we got to get down and dirty. And that's how it's going to be. Or else we're going to continue to, because now they're attacking our women and our children. They're still attacking our women and our children. Okay? And now they're telling you that a black man who defends his woman and his children, if he touches you, you can kill him, and that's okay. And that bothers me. That he's sitting there. No, it wasn't his wife. Okay, whatever. I'll overlook it. But he was protecting his woman and his children, and that bastard shot him in front of his 5-year-old son. And that white bastard of a freaking damn sheriff sat up there and said, well, he pushed the bottle and he had every right to shoot him. Really? So that's what you're telling us now. You basically said, I cannot protect my family, that person can approach me and my family, and if I touch him, he can kill me in the state of Florida, and that doesn't sit well. So that means I'm not putting my hands on him. If you run your mouth to my wife, you're catching heat, and that's it. That's how we need to think. Because you mean to tell me that if I touch him, he can kill me, and that's okay. And all I did was try to protect my family. Every black man in the state that sits in, or any state that is a stand your ground state, should be sick to their stomach to hear that somebody can actually get away with that. And knowing good and damn well if we did it, it doesn't happen. It's not gonna work for us. So we need to think strategically. Don't get emotional, and don't get crazy. Just think strategically, and say, okay, if you're gonna run up on him, you better run up on them to protect your family by any means necessary. Because they're the laws, the whole system is there to protect them. And begging and trying to talk about this politician and that politician and elections are coming up, it hasn't worked for us. When are we going to figure out it hasn't worked for us? Because we don't buy politicians. We don't have them in our pocket. They refuse.
Our politicians are not our politicians. That's the problem. That's what I was bringing up to the previous caller.
They're not.
It is useless for us as black people to talk about politicians because, quote, our politicians, end quote, are not our politicians. Black people did not select Cory Booker. We didn't select Kamala Harris. We didn't choose Barack Obama. These are Negroes they brought in. In Barack's case, they went overseas to get him. We got some Indonesian Negro. Here, you come on over here. You have no association to black society. You have no connection. You'll be their representative, and black folk go for it because we look for somebody to say that.
Just like they're going crazy over the little Hispanic lady up there in New York. You know?
I'll let you have the last word,
that's how they're going. Just remember, family, we are all we really and truly got, okay? It doesn't matter what any white person says. They can sit here and talk about their white privilege and how it's bad, and you need to acknowledge it, okay? You need to look at the lessons of what Monique has completely, literally took a complete dump on us, okay, for those that tried to stand up for her. You need to leave that alone. But there is no white saviors. We are the only ones that can protect ourselves, and we are the only ones that are going to save us, okay? If you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for your children. Look at those children and understand that you have to leave this world better for them. You have to, because nobody else is going to do it for them except you and us and we. That's all I got to say. Black first, Jason. Good night.
Black first, brother, thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Can you all imagine going into a fight and Chucky, you're dependent on him to have your back? Could you imagine that situation? You're going into a life or death situation, and there's Chucky, and he's got to have your back. Amazing. Speaking of the devil, Chucky, are you just going to sit there looking at the phone, or your spoonful of meth? What are you doing?
No, I'm just listening to you.
Okay. These phone lines are not for sitting and listening.
No, I didn't know the phone line was open. You didn't acknowledge that your phone line was open.
Okay, you didn't choose the right. For some reason, you pressed a button when you called in. I don't know why. I guess you were just bored. You took yourself out of the caller queue.
Okay. Now, I would like to speak with you without personal questions being asked.
I will ask whatever questions I deem to be pertinent, but if you want to stay on the line, you're gonna have to turn me off in the background because it's creating an echo.
Okay. Is that better?
Okay. Chuck, the question that everybody is... No, that's not better. Actually, you need to turn the volume all the way off, or I'm going to have to disconnect your call. You don't need me playing behind you. He's already on the phone with me and got me playing on speakers. I mean, seriously, this is the ADHD generation here. Can you all imagine going into combat and this is the guy who has your back? Can you imagine that? You're going into combat and this is the fella who's got your back. Man.
Yes, no, I don't have their back. No, I don't.
I believe that. Well, thank you. Truth in advertising. Chucky, I just spoke to a retired veteran. And I gotta wonder here. That's a man who has children. You obviously don't have any, do you?
I said no personal question.
That's not a personal question. That's not a personal question, dumbass. If you got children, that's not a personal question. You shouldn't be hiding from your own kids unless you're hiding from child support.
One child, man.
Okay. You have one child. And what type of example are you setting for your child?
I'm setting a perfect example to stay away from people like you that talk with the racist mentality that you have.
So you think a black person can be racist? You think a black person can be racist?
I think you are a racist, yes. I think you are a black racist.
How is it possible for a black person to be racist? Tell me how we can penalize, oppress, and dominate white people based on their skin color. How do we do that?
You're not trying to dominate anything. You're jealous. So you're trying to separate yourself.
Jealousy is racism. Being jealous of someone is racism? Do you even hear yourself? Being jealous of someone is racism?
Look at the fucking picture you got up, dude. You are a black power motherfucker. What are you talking about?
I have a picture of somebody's elbows. I have a picture of someone's elbows. What are you talking about? It's a picture of a man's elbows.
The fucking screenshot you got. Cut the bullshit. You're a black power motherfucker. Stop trying to act like you're not. And you're looking for separation.
And what's wrong with that?
Exactly. Thank you for admitting that. There's nothing wrong with it. I just wanted you to admit it.
I didn't say that that's what I'm looking for. I'm asking you what's wrong with that. I didn't say that's what I'm looking for. I'm asking you.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine because you motherfuckers need to be over there anyway.
Then why are you so hostile?
Because you're too motherfucking dangerous and stupid anyway.
So the white supremacists are not dangerous. The white folk who can kill you with impunity are not dangerous. We're the dangerous ones. That's what you're saying? They're not dangerous. We are. The powerless people who can do nothing but talk. We're dangerous. The folk who can murder you and your whole family and not even go to jail for it, they're perfectly safe. And this guy was in the military.
Why don't you speak about the black on black crime?
Because when you commit a crime against a black person, you get punished for it. Clearly, you were unaware of that.
So you're not going to speak on black crime across America and in Chicago and everywhere. You're not going to speak on that.
Okay.
If
you commit a crime against a black person, you will be punished for it, and you should. The real question is, if a white person commits a crime against a black person, they are not punished. Why is that?
I'm not a judge.
Okay, no. It's got nothing to do with that. No. You don't have to be a judge to answer that. Why is it that a white person can kill you and not go to jail for it or be punished for it? You don't see that as a problem?
That's not a fact. That's an assumption. That is a motherfucking lie.
So George Zimmerman is an assumption.
A black man, his ass is going to jail.
So, George Zimmerman, Darren Wilson, Daniel Pantaleo, Michael Slager, Johannes Meserly, Dante Servin, Timothy Lohman, this guy in Clearwater, Florida. Clearly, you are the most uninformed baboon who has picked up a cellular phone connection.
I'm very informed. No disrespect. Don't start disrespecting.
You just said that wasn't true. You just said it wasn't true and that we made that up.
I am totally informed.
Okay,
I am informed. So what about the white guys that drugged the black man in Texas? What about the white guys that drugged the black man and went to jail in Texas for dragging him behind a truck?
Hell, they had to admit to it.
What about the white guys that went to jail in Houston for shooting a black guy because he thought the black guy was stealing, and he got 20 years in prison?
I'm not familiar with that case you're
all
talking about.
That black power shit you talking. All of that black power shit. Fuck all of that shit you talking.
You have to be. If you have a child, is your child biracial? Gotta be.
No, that's another personal question, but no.
Yeah. Yes, then I don't believe
I have
that.
To ask you any personal questions.
These are not personal questions, Nimrod. These are basic questions.
As a black man, you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed at what's going on in the community as a black man. But all you're going to do is bash the white community who doesn't live anywhere around your motherfucking ass. You're
they are
that's
the dumbest thing in the world.
You're not going to say shit about them.
We live in a society controlled from the very top of its head to the bottom of its feet by white people, and you just said you're not in contact with white people. What type of moronic statement is that? Who was doing crack when you were gestating to say something so crazy? They control everything around you. Black people around you control nothing. And you just sat up here and say, why are you worried about the folks who control everything? Do you see how absolutely insane you're talking? If you don't do drugs, you need to start so you can have an excuse for some of this lunacy you keep spitting out here. What about the people who control this society from top to bottom and can decide if you can murder people with impunity? What about them?
I've never, God, look, I know you're a race hustler. I know you are a race hustler.
You know what?
But
I'm glad you just said what you just said. This is not a black person on the phone. This is a white guy, and I've let him go on for a while because I thought it was amusing. This is a white guy who thinks he's imitating of what he infers a black person would talk like, which is why he's doing this Red Fox imitation. And I've let him go on, and let him go on, and let him go on. And it's been nice to refute the talking points and whatnot, but I'm done pretending that I don't know what you are. Because nobody would talk this stupid or that crazy. I don't think you are. I know you are.
Okay, ask your stupid ass chat. Do you think I'm a white guy?
Here's the real question right here. I don't believe that for a moment. But here's the real issue. The real issue is, even if you weren't, you do it so great an imitation of them, you might as well be. There's no distinction between
it's sad. Someone disagreed with you, and you got very mad tonight just because you want everyone to call in.
You don't have to agree
Black
with me.
Power.
You don't have to agree with me, but when you start talking with white supremacist vocabulary and white supremacist vernacular, and you have nothing bad to say about them whatsoever, and they run everything, you can't get a driver's license, a business permit, you can be murdered on sight, and no one will even be arrested, much less, they don't even call the police for it anymore. That doesn't bother you, but some mystical black person that you've already told us that you've insulated yourself from, that is what you're really concerned about. No, sir, you are at best a black white supremacist, and you are at worst a white supremacist. Those are the two options.
So I am a black. So you're calling me a black white supremacist just for disagreeing with your show?
No, you're a black white supremacist because, as I will repeat this again for the ADHD lead pipe babies, you are a black white supremacist at best because you speak with white supremacist vocabulary, catchphrases, talking points, and terms and vernacular. You speak like a white supremacist. You use their terms and their terminology and their language. This is not language that the average or any lay black person is going to use. These are specific terms specifically utilized by white supremacists. So at best, you're a wannabe white supremacist. At very best, at worst, you're a cowardly white supremacist who didn't just call up and say what you are. I've interviewed Jared Taylor. I've interviewed Richard Spencer, the most prominent white supremacists of our time. You could have just said what you were and called right up, and you still would have got to the front of the line, you damn coward. At worst, you're a white supremacist coward. At best, you're a black white supremacist who wants to be. Neither one of them is good. So at this point, it doesn't even really matter anymore. It wouldn't even matter what your ethnicity were. You want to be so bad. You talk just like them. You are indistinguishable from them. We can't separate you. And that's the pathetic part. So why don't you tell us, what are we going to do about this white supremacist system that we live in? Or are you going to tell us we don't live in a system of white supremacy?
I'm not going to sit here and say every time I go to the store and the white man. I'm not, this isn't the 1950s.
I didn't ask you
about the store. You're not running around blaming everything on the white man.
What are we going to do about it?
What show are you running?
Show me a court
so every
where
time
a
you
black
leave your
person can
motherfucking
do
house,
that.
it's about the white man, right? Right?
When the police lights pull up behind you, yeah. When you go to court, yeah.
You blame on the white man.
When you go to your, blame what on the white man, you incoherent chimpanzee? What are you talking about? You're speaking in half sentences. Please do the Molly in between paragraphs. Show me an aspect. Show me an aspect of our society that white people do not control. Tell me the aspect of our society that they do not control.
the ghetto parts that they do not want to be involved in.
The ghetto
because
portion.
You
they
stupid
created the
motherfucker
ghetto.
Gonna kill them.
They created the ghetto.
No, you helped create the ghetto by holding blacks down. Guys like you helped create the ghetto.
First of all, are you even familiar with what the term ghetto means? I'm sure as a white
supremacist, I am familiar.
You would be. Okay, great. Tell me the origin of the term ghetto. Just educate me real quick.
No, you're the motherfucking
No,
speaker.
you just said that you know
me.
the origin. You just said you know the origin of it. Educate us.
No, you're going to say I'm wrong.
All right, now shut up. Okay, then be quiet. Then be quiet and shut up. The first ghettos were created for and by white people. The 5 points in New York. Irish immigrants, Italian immigrants. Last people to come there were black people. The first ghettos were not us. Ghettos were created, and people were funneled into them. But you would know this if you weren't a white supremacist. You'd know that.
I'm live streaming your show, and people in my chat are saying you sound like a white boy. You do.
The guy on my phone who sounds like Red Fox or is imitating it is trying to tell people who sounds black and who doesn't. Just because I don't sound like a convict on parole, I'm sure to your people, that would be great. Here's the problem. Anybody who would agree with you, I'm glad that they don't like what they're hearing. If they did, I would know everything I'm doing is wrong. If your people agreed with me, everything I'm doing, I know I would be wrong.
I can prove you wrong on every point you make.
You can't prove a verb wrong from an adjective. Don't overestimate yourself.
I can prove you wrong on every point you make.
No, you cannot.
Because I am a black man and I have facts and information that will shut you the fuck up. All we do is hold each other down.
No,
that's why
we
you
don't
have
hold it. You separated yourself from black society.
Why don't you have a 2018 picture up? Why do you have an old-ass picture up from the 1950s? Why don't you have a new picture up? Because you know goddamn well that
who has supposedly insulated himself from black society. Supposedly, he's insulated himself. And yet, he's telling us what a victim he is of black society, and white folk haven't done anything to him. As I said, at best, this is a black white supremacist, which is most pathetic of all. It's a wannabe. At worst, this is a white dude who's playing with folks' emotions. At very worst. Regardless, he's adopted the white supremacist vocabulary, which has been entertaining for a while, although now he's just simply getting redundant. But he's already told you everything you want to hear. And by the way, if there's anybody, I don't know if he's live streaming me or not or whatever, but if you all want to go check his live stream, and if there's anybody over there who's in my chat room, you can ban them, since obviously they're going to have a whole lot more fun over there with this lunatic, as it were. This guy is what happens to you when you do drugs. He's what happens to you when you've been left alone with the babysitter too many times. He's what happens when your parents have checked out of life, period. This is what occurs. So, here's what I want you to do for me, Chucky, the idiot.
Brother. That's where you're wrong, brother.
Chucky,
that's where you are wrong.
Do us a favor in life, okay? Here's what I want you to do. Do us a favor in life. Hang up the phone, hopefully put down the drugs, and don't do not ever call us back again in life. Go away, disappear to whatever spare tire you were living under before you called us, and spare us from ever hearing your voice again. You've dropped the collective IQ of this room by 50 points, and it's going to take me another 2 minutes to help them recover.
So only call.
Caller from 346, you're on live with the Black Channel.
60 seconds.
Yeah, brother, I just wanted to say that the last caller that called in, that he's a coon, and the brother before him was just speaking on some truth. This is Dion again in Houston, from Shreveport. If you can just elaborate on that, you don't have to take all your time, but just explain the difference between where there's no difference. But some people try to separate, as he tried to say, you're a racist yourself. There's no difference between racism and white supremacy. Is all the same, and the coons, if you can, bro.
Dr. Claude Anderson explained it years ago. I guess I'm just going to be redundant about it. You don't have racism without power. Black people have no power. What?
10 seconds.
That's why you shut them down. As soon as I said, okay, tell me what power we have over white people. You don't have any. Okay, then you can't be racist. Well, you jealous. That's not racism, dumbass. Jealousy is racism?
Exactly.
No, it's not. By definition, it isn't. So, what is it? You don't like me. That's not racism. Having the power to punish and dominate other people based on their skin color, deprive them of things based on their skin color, that is racism. Racism is a group phenomena where one group targets another group for deprivation and persecution based on their skin color. You can't point to a single act of racism from a black person because by definition you must have power to execute it. So once you say that, all of a sudden they want to try to water down and distort the definition and say, well, no, I mean, if you don't like them, that racism there, if you don't like them. And like I say, that's coward talk. That's why I said meant by you can't send a crack baby to do a man's job. You can't send a crack baby to do a man's job. You can't do that. Because a crack baby is constantly going to try to find the coward's door. And if you can't find the coward's door, then he's going to make a coward's door. And he's going to redefine everything to fit that particular prism that he's looking at it from. At the end of the day, what he's saying is, if you believe as a black person or not, it doesn't really matter to me. He's definitely a white supremacist. Doesn't matter what color he is. He's definitely a white supremacist. And I let him go on long enough about that. It's like, okay, you're a white supremacist, definitely. Even if you're not white, you're certainly a white supremacist. But the real thing that he's telling you is, even if you believe he's black, I'm scared. I have no answers. And I want to deal with it. I feel bad about my cowardice. And your broadcast is making me feel worse about my cowardice. So I'm really looking for you to stop that. Stop making me feel bad about my cowardice. Because I hear you all speaking like men. I hear you speaking like men. And I don't feel qualified to sit among the men with all this man talk about what you do. It makes me feel bad about my cowardice. So let me call up and try to tell you, no, the problem is you men folk talking about being men. That's the problem.
Exactly,
That's
bro.
the problem. I'll let you have the last word.
Thank you for everything you do, brother. Like I say, I'm just waiting for it to come to Houston. Black first, from Shreveport, Louisiana. We call it Queensboro, but it's actually pronounced Queensboro. Hey, keep doing what you do, brother. I'm out here supporting you.
Black first, brother. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. C Road all day. Let me get caller from 210. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Black first, brother. Is Brandon from San Antonio?
All right. What was your name again?
Brandon from San Antonio.
Okay. You must be doing speed tonight. Slow down a little bit. Name and city again. Okay. He jumped off the line. Yeah, that call was destined to go nowhere. Caller from 804. You're on live with the Black Channel.
How's it going, Jason? This is Ben. Look, again, excellent show. I just want to get sort of an outline, if you can, about how we can. I remember you talking about it, skirting over just a tad bit on one of your other shows, how we can boost the economies in our respective communities, what sort of industries, what sort of businesses would be, I guess, most viable for. I'm in the Virginia area, Central Virginia area, but you were mentioning there were 3 businesses that every economy has to have. If you could kind of go over that a little more in length, I greatly appreciate it.
Well, I did a whole program about that before. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Definitely, I've done a program about that. I don't really want to get sidetracked into that right now. But you definitely do want to have your lawyers. You do want to have your real estate agents. You do want to have your medical professionals. You definitely want to have those. That's always very helpful to have. I've done broadcasts about this before, but and you certainly need to have an accountant if you're going to be having that going on. Brothers and sisters, I'm glad that we got Chucky to call in tonight. I really, really am. Let's switch gears here. Let's go back from the assumption that this is a black person talking here. That dovetails with Monique. When you put pressure on somebody, when you put adversity on somebody, that is what occurs. It either builds them or it breaks them. That's what occurs. They get built or they get broken. They get built or they get broken. Period. And this is a tough one for people to understand. As black people, we have to make that distinction. Adversity is either going to turn them into us or us into them. Adversity is either going to turn them into us or it's going to turn us into them. But understand, you can't turn chicken crap into chicken salad. Monique is the epitome of a broken black person. She's broken. She's broken, and at this point, she is going to say anything and everything to try to get back into daddy's good graces. And that was what you were looking at the entire time. As black people, we have individuals who attempt to use the struggle of the people as a personal enrichment tool for themselves, at the same time discarding the people, but trying to have this personal enrichment vehicle that will help them and only them. So everybody tries to wrap their individual problems when they've disassociated themselves in the black struggle. But as I've always told you all, if you want to know what a black person really thinks, bring a white person around. And they will reveal to you what they really feel. They're not going to lie in a white person's presence. Chucky is talking for the little white supremacist on his shoulder. That's who he's talking for. He's talking for that white supremacist on his shoulder. He's speaking for that man's benefit. Remember, I've told you that black folk walk around with a little white supremacist on their shoulder that checks what they say. He doesn't have to be physically standing in their presence, but checking what they say and checking what they do. They police themselves. They police themselves, and as black people, that's what we go for. They feel bad about their position, and what they're really looking to do is see if they have the ability to do it again. It is about infecting us. And it's about testing you, because that's what it does. You are now in an environment where you have to do a gut check. No, you might not end up on KTAL, KTLA, Channel 5. In California, you might not be there. Your gut check is something that occurs to you every day. You have to see that every day. As a person, you have to see that. All of us are being tested. All of us are being given the opportunity to see what we will sell our souls for. All of us. Yeah, they had Monique at the desk. They had Monique on that stage, but in reality, she was a proxy for all of us. She was a proxy for all of us. It's a proxy for all of us to see whether or not we are looking to sell out too. Vicariously. Vicariously. This is what we end up with. They're looking to see, are you the weak? That's what they're looking for. Are you the weak? These are questions that they're looking for. These are questions that they're asking. To see if they can carve you off, to see if you are willing to put yourself in a bad situation. To see how many of us they can convince to shift the culture, because you don't think that they're listening 24/7, but they do. They're listening to us all the time. You are constantly in this societal psychological warfare to see who is going to give up and who's going to stand up. And even when there are no white people around, you've got a bunch of people who they've invented one to sit on their shoulder to regulate them. They so desire that approval that they have transformed and identify with the very people that they're talking about. They stand up and identify with them. This is what they do. And the goal is to get the rest of us to go along with it. Now you have to do a gut check on you. You have to do a gut check on yourself. You have to look at yourself now and provide that gut check. That's what you have to do here. And it's going to be painful because you're going to find yourself at odds with family members, former friends, people who will be your former friends. You're going to find yourself in that situation. And many of them have been broken. This guy is 29 years old and he is broken. So just in case you thought that Monique's broken Mammy syndrome is confined and limited and relegated to just once you reach a certain age, no. They're broken way before you get there. You see, they were cracked young, and then as they get older, they're just completely broken. There's no fight left in them. They're just looking for a soft place to land. But they've been broken. They've been broken. Consider that. Because now it's your turn. Where are you going to be? Where are you going to fall down in this? Are you going to side with Chucky and Monique? Is that what you're going to do? Are you going to side with them? Is that going to be where you go down? These are serious questions I'm asking because they want to make it normalized that we as black people, we see faults and problems in and of ourselves, but then we don't see any faults or any problems from the dominant society that controls everything. We don't see any problems with that. None. And as young black people, I do this broadcast and I do what I do because it is critical that young black people, see mature black folk who don't talk with this cooning, buck dancing, side shuffling nonsense. They need to see that everybody ain't like that. They need to understand that everyone isn't that way. But if they grow up in their families, and that guy that you got your Uncle Ruckus, you've got all of these Negroes in their families and they hear this year after year. And even if they encounter the world and it refutes it, they go home and they get a steady diet of this sewage being tossed at them. This is what they end up with. They have a steady diet of it. And if we're not here doing something about it, then there's nothing to refute it with. These are the things I'm concerned with. These are the things I'm looking at. Maybe there aren't a lot of folk in your family who talk to you about these things. Maybe there are not a lot of folk in your family who say anything about it. This is the first time that many of them have any idea about it. This is the first time that any of them have any idea about it whatsoever. First time that they're hearing it. They don't have any idea about it at all. Now understand that this is a place that breaks the souls of Sambos and Mammies. This is God's work. This is God's work. If we are to be so fortunate. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, that is blackchannelfilms.com, you definitely want to go there and see that. See our previous documentary work, 7 a.m. in Gentrified Ethnic Cleansing American Style and Race War is on the way. You definitely want to be there for that as well. Big announcements coming up. Be watching for it. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio program. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.